Hey guys, my name is Hop, I am Mark LaRue's arch nemesis, and this is a piece of rare, discontinued, and quite possibly priceless LaRue memorabilia, the LAT M-Lock AR handguard. Let me tell you a story about Mark LaRue. This video was made possible by our channel supporters on Subscribestar. Check out the links in the video description for ways to support the show, and thank you for watching. So a while back I made a video about the LaRue C-Note, which is like a monolithic set of pistol iron sights that you can attach to an AR and kind of make hits with. I called it a silly product, which nobody really needed me to say because it was pretty obvious just by looking at it. But in that video I also said a lot of nice things about other LaRue products. I said that they make the best AR handguards on the market. These things are phenomenally rigid, incredibly well designed, and they were very affordable. After that video came out, the prices on almost everything on his website went up by a lot, in some cases effectively double, and he also discontinued the handguards that I said were the best ones on the market. This is not the first time that this has happened to me, obviously, with the ALG handguards that I previously said were some of the best handguards on the market. Those got immediately discontinued right after I opened my big fat mouth, and it's happened to me with a bunch of other things as well, like 511 made a series of backpacks called the AMP series, and I thought they were the best backpacks that 511 had ever made, so of course they discontinued them right after I started telling people about them. Nice, that's the Hop curse. Don't let me say something nice about something you love, or it could happen to you. This story got even more interesting in the last couple of weeks because Geissele resurrected the ALG mark for a new rifle called the El Jefe, which is not a good looking rifle. First of all, I mean, it's just ugly. But the big news was that they were producing more of the ALG V3X rails for the new El Jefe rifle. So, ALG is the company of Amy Lynn Geissele, the wife of Bill Geissele. Bill Geissele and Mark LaRue often finding themselves at odds. They are both AR-focused rifle companies, relatively small but also incredibly well respected. It's kind of a running gag that the reason the LaRue MBT2S trigger is sold so cheap is just to rub it in the face of Bill Geissele, known for making $400 trigger groups. ALG used to make a series of handguards that I thought were the best on the market, not just for the money, although they were extremely affordable, but because of the ruggedness and the design. Similar to the LaRue handguards, they're a lot more difficult to install because you need to time the barrel nut. But once you do, you're rewarded with a very rigid and durable overall system. Also similar to the LaRue handguards, the ALG ones were never the lightest respective to their overall length, but that was okay if you wanted to trade off for a little bit of extra rigidity. That's not bad weight. The big news surrounding the ALG El Jefe was that the ALG handguards were back in production, and following that announcement, Geissele actually put the handguards up for sale a la carte on their website, and guess what? They're still really affordable. $150 for the 15-inch rail. That's the only length that they're currently offering it in, and they're only offering it in the V3X, which means it's got the full Picatinny across the top, and it has the newer design where the M-Lock slots are on the diagonals rather than on the 3, 6, and 9, which is what you would probably expect for most M-Lock handguards. So probably not my favorite iteration of the rail. Also, the 15-inch rail is pretty long. If you're going to be putting that much rail onto a rifle, you may actually want to go with a more lightweight rail. These things I think really shine in their shorter lengths because you get a very rigid, very durable rail that's good for mounting lights and lasers, and the extra weight isn't a killer because, again, the rifle is short, the handguard is short, the weight is farther to the rear. Put one of those 15-inch ones on a 16-inch plus gun, you are going to end up with something that's awfully front-heavy. But the fact is, they're back in production, and we could be seeing other lengths coming soon. They probably won't bother bringing back the V2, which is this version with the interrupted top rail, or the V1, which has just M-Lock on the top, or the V0, which used a proprietary screw-in rail system. There's really no reason for those to exist anymore. So, Mark LaRue, normally a man of the people, discontinued the LAT rails as well as the SAT rails. I have a video talking about how much I love these rails that's unlisted. I'll just put it in the video description if you're really curious. It goes into detail about the attachment system. Obviously, I can't release that video because it's no longer even close to accurate since they don't exist anymore. They still produce the quad rails, which are fantastic quad rails. However, the price on those went up basically double, and the prices on all the other really good stuff that LaRue makes went through the roof. They used to be an incredible buy for the money. Now they're just fine. Anyway, LaRue versus Geissele. Mark versus Bill. What a saga. The figureheads of high-profile rifle companies are often more fun to talk about than the products they sell. Us gun guys don't have our own gossip magazine, but that doesn't stop the lunatic fringe from reveling in the details of Mike Michalski's legal troubles, or crafting conspiracy theories about the death of John Noveski, or just basically hating Kevin Brittenham for some reason. I don't know if there's actually a rivalry between Bill Geissele and Mark LaRue, but like everybody else with a gun and an Instagram account, I sure like to think there is. Geissele Automatics is a big target because they make expensive products with an almost mythical reputation for quality, and because Bill Geissele represents the company in a kind of totemic way. When Geissele screws up, we blame old Bendy Bill. Compare that to, for example, Ruger. Bill Ruger has been dead for long enough that all of Ruger's fuck-ups seem very impersonal. I mean, what are you going to do, blame the shareholders? LaRue Tactical is even easier to go after because Mark LaRue is that company, and like most boomers on the internet, he likes to overshare and over-argue. But Marky Mark has long been a man of the people, whether that's because LaRue is a classic underdog, making products 99% as good as Geissele's for 50% of the price, or because they used to include baggies of barbecue rub with every order, or because Mark LaRue refuses to sell rifles to police agencies in states where those rifles aren't legal for the citizens to own. That's right, kids. Mark LaRue is what we in the industry refer to as based. I get the feeling that public sentiment is swinging back the other way. LaRue keeps releasing increasingly insane products that nobody wants, purchased exclusively by people who want to farm performative outrage on Reddit. Combine that with LaRue discontinuing some of their best products and doubling the price on everything else, and I think Mark's Texas Lone Star might be waning. Meanwhile, Geissele has been keeping its nose clean. The Geissele, backorder, and Blem incident is far behind us, and the worst thing they did lately was try to sell a shitty rebranded Swamp Fox Red Dot, but that was under a sub-brand, so most people didn't even notice. I'd like to think they're going to sell a ton of the reintroduced ALG rails, but I'm not too sure. I already have plenty of them in my inventory, so I won't buy one unless they add one of the much shorter rails to the lineup that I don't have yet. At least we can be sure they'll sell one or two to the guys at Barrel and Hatchet. Having said all that, I think I'm still on Team LaRue. I don't really like anything that Geissele makes. Maybe I'm just too poor, or maybe their handguards are too fat, and their triggers don't feel like they're worth $300 fucking to me. LaRue just makes more stuff I like, even with the increased prices. 50% of the LaRue catalog is like a machinist's wet dream, extremely well-designed AR parts and accessories that are reasonably priced even after the massive price hikes. The other 50% is so coked out even George Kellgren would be ashamed to put it on his guns. There's the C-Note, which we've already talked about, the Kaguloa, a leather carry handle that attaches to your scope in case you've never heard of the rifle sling, and the recently announced Accessorizer, or I think it's supposed to be pronounced Accessorizer, an aluminum strut that bridges the carry handle and front sight base on older A2 style carbines. At long last, poor rural police agencies can turn their old Bushmaster XM15E2s into what looks like a low-budget sci-fi prop gun imitation G36. I will be getting one of these, and I will be mounting the C-Note to it. Mark my words, you will LaRue the day you cross me. Anyway, if you guys see anything you like on LaRue's website, you should probably order it now, because the last time I made a video about LaRue, the consequences were pretty severe. I'm not saying I had anything to do with it, but I am implying it strongly. That's all for today, guys. Thank you for joining me on this extremely self-indulgent video. The only thing I like more than guns is the gun industry. Talking about this stuff is my guilty pleasure. If you like this channel and you'd like to support it, there is a link in the video description to my Subscribestar page. If you join up, you get access to early videos and bonus content. There's also a Linktree link where you can find affiliate and sponsorship stuff, as well as social media and Discord. It's not easy to get access to the Discord, and it's a PP-soaked heck hole anyway, so I'm not really sure why you would click that link. See you guys next time.